Hello, Forward Physical Science. Just a quick update of what's going on for this week. It's going to be the week of April 27th to May 1st. Few new things this week. One, these videos. I'm going to be doing video updates as well as the email updates that you're going to be getting. So that'll be new. If you view it, you view it. If you don't, you don't. Just another way to communicate. Notes. We'll be getting due dates. I've been posting notes. They are like the lectures I would do in class. They are the PowerPoints. They are put on Schoology as a PowerPoint. They're also put up there as a PDF to look at, as well as a link to a video like this that you can see. The notes are not required to be done. You don't have to do anything with them or upload anything or anything like that. The notes are there because they explain what's going on with the content that we're doing. The reason I'm putting due dates on them is so that they're easier for you to find because they will show up in your upcoming on Schoology. And I want you to be able to access those easier without having to go dig for them. But you don't actually have to do anything with them. They are there for extra information so that what you do have to do makes more sense. Now, as far as for this week, we're going to be taking a look at types of chemical reactions. You should have watched an Edpuzzle video about that and maybe viewed some notes on that last week. The assignments we're going to do on that this week are both actually on Schoology. You don't have to print anything out. You don't have to upload anything or anything like that. We've done this before. We've been doing this all year in physical science, where we've done vocabulary use and study guides right on Schoology. You go to Schoology, it shows up as a green puzzle piece with the title of the assignment. One is called Worksheet Classifying Chemical Reactions. The other one is called Worksheet Predicting Products of Chemical Reactions. Talk about when they're due later. But you don't actually have to do anything for them or to print wise. You just go in there, you answer the questions directly on Schoology, you click submit, and then you're good to go. And I'll be showing you some examples of that here in a minute, of what to do with one of those assignments here in a minute. As for Edpuzzle, I did look. I appreciate those of you who went on there and at least signed in. Maybe if you haven't done the video yet, if they are still there, you can still go back and do that. The video that I put up there is an explainer for types of chemical reactions, so that should make at least one, if not both, of the assignments that we're doing this week a lot easier. Now, as far as office hours this week, office hours will be on Friday, May 1st from 2 to 3. That is the same day that probably the more difficult of the two assignments that I'm asking you to do is going to be due. So I will be there for an hour. If you need some help, you can pop in. Office hours are not required. I put a link up on Schoology for Teams. You just click in there, you can hop in. You don't have to stay the entire hour. You can just show up, get the help that you need and leave. Show up, say hi and leave. You can show up, get a little bit of help, go work on your assignment, and then come back near the end. A few people have done that, and that works pretty well. The idea is that, it's imagine like if I was in my classroom at school for third hour. That is my normal prep period. I'm in the classroom during that time period, and then you can just walk in there and ask for help, and I'm just there for that hour. It's the same thing, but now it's on a video conference. So I will be there for that. All right. As for the assignments that we're doing this week, there are two of them. One is called Classifying Chemical Reactions. It is due on Wednesday, April 29th. Once again, you're going to do this right on Schoology. You will get multiple attempts, so if you're not happy with your first score, you can do it again. But that is right on Schoology and is submitted on Schoology, and you will get your score right away on Schoology. The other assignment is called Predicting the Products of Chemical Reactions. That is due on Friday, May 1st. That one's a little more difficult, which is why I made the office hours on Friday, so that you have the week to try that assignment and then come and see me on Friday and see if you have any questions or need any help with it. The notes that we saw at the end of the week last week will be very helpful in understanding that. But I do want to show you how to go about doing the Predicting Products of Chemical Reactions worksheet. So I'm going to be posting an example of that right here. Okay, so for this week, we're taking a look at two assignments that are going to be done directly on Schoology. And so what I want to do is kind of give you an idea what that looks like. So when you log into Schoology, you're going to be looking at, you've got your updates page, and then you've got things that are overdue, as well as things that are upcoming. Your upcoming is where you can find, well, what's coming up. So what you're looking at is assignments on here that have the green puzzle piece. Those are assignments that we are doing directly on Schoology. And you can get to them just by simply going to the upcoming and clicking the link right there. So for Wednesday, we're going to be doing the classifying chemical reactions. For Friday, we're going to be doing predicting products of chemical reactions. That's the one that I think will be a little bit more difficult. So that's the one I want to at least explain to you how it works at this point and how to go about answering questions. So if I click on this right here, it's going to take me right to the initial page and the directions on the assignments. These instructions are going to be really helpful because it tells you exactly what to do. And it talks about what we're doing for the problem. So first, we want to predict the products of the reaction that we have. What's important here is they are case sensitive. You want to be very careful when you enter the answers and make sure, like, if you're going to do carbon dioxide, you put capital C, put capital O, and then the number 2, as opposed to capital C and a little o. It'll mark it wrong if you do not do uppercase and lowercase for the appropriate letters. We're not going to do anything with balancing these equations, so don't worry about that. But you do have to name the type of reaction. Is a synthesis, decomposition, single displacement, double displacement, or combustion. If we're typing up subscripts, we're just going to put the number. It's not going to do a subscript on this. You just have to put the number in there. And what's also really important, and this goes back to your notes from before, we want to make sure we're not forgetting which elements are diatomic, meaning that when there's just gases in nature, like hydrogen gas exists as a hydrogen atom bonded with another hydrogen atom, or H2, right? Those were hydrogen, and then they form a number 7 on the right side of the periodic table. So nitrogen, oxygen, chlorine, iodine, fluorine. Those are all diatomic elements, and you can find those on your periodic table. And so hopefully you did mark those before, but they are things that we looked at last time when we did balancing equations as well. So I gave you a couple examples, but what I want to do, and you can look back at these as far as answering the questions, but what I want to do is actually show you some questions, which is what we're going to do. But I've given you this chemical reactions reference sheet before. The chemical reactions reference sheet has lists the different types of reactions, as well as like what to look for. If you remember, it was kind of like you could jump around. So you look at the equation that you have and figure out, okay, how many reactants do I have, and those types of things. And I'm actually going to open this. Right? We'll open that up. Okay. The other thing I put up here is this predicting the products of chemical reactions. There's a video. It's a quick video. You can go online. It gives you examples for how to do this. This would be very worth watching before you started this assignment, because it goes about how do we figure out how to predict these products in there. Now it also says you have 3 attempts remaining, so you get 3 tries at this too. So you can really mess up one and go and fix it. So let's get started. Okay, so this first one gives me potassium plus chlorine equals what? All right, now if I go back to my chemical reaction reference sheet, there's a couple different ways I can see this. I can look at this first page and see what it is, or I can come down to this second page. I personally like this second page because it asks me questions and walks me through it. So like the first question it asks me is there one reactant? Well, no, it looks like there's 2. Is there one product? Well, we don't know that yet, so we're going to come back down. Is oxygen a reactant? No. Do an element in a compound make a different element in the compound? Well, these are both elements. All right, so when I come back here, if they're both just elements, and this even says this up here at the top too, it's probably an addition reaction, which is also called a synthesis reaction. So what I'm going to do for blank 1, and if you notice it does only give me a blank for one product, my general equation is A plus B gets me AB. So when I put this together, the thing I got to keep in mind is what are the oxidation numbers. So I would look back at my periodic table. Potassium, which is K, is in the first column, and chlorine is in the 7th column. So potassium is a +1, and chlorine is a -1. So when I put that together, all right, if I do swap and drop, all I'm going to get is KCl. All right, so that's all I have to put there. All right, when I put the type, I can just come in here, and if I look back at my directions, I know this was a synthesis reaction. So that's what I'll do. And I'll type in that that's a synthesis reaction, and then I click next page and I go on. It is very important that you are spelling things correctly. So please make sure that you do that. Otherwise, if you do not spell things correctly, it will mark it wrong. When you're all done, and if you notice, we only gave you 10 questions on this, 10 examples. When you get to the end, you'll have the opportunity to go back and review all of your answers. And then you click submit and it'll show you your score. And then from there, you can decide whether or not you want to go back and redo it from there. If you want to start it and then pick it back up again later, you can resume also. Just make sure that when you go back to your test, I'll show you here. I can leave my page. When you go back in, please make sure that when you go test/quiz, you want to select resume. If you say start new attempt, all right, it takes away that first attempt. It says that you finished that first attempt, so now you only have 2 left instead of the original 3. So you want to make sure that you select resume when you go back in. All right, I hope that gives you some idea of what you need to do. If you are having trouble with that assignment, like I said, come find me on the office hours from 2 to 3 on Friday. I'll be there to help you out. I'll be there to walk you through it. It's probably a lot easier than sending me a message on email or on Remind. You can get more of that face-to-face, and I can kind of show you what to do. But other than that, I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you have a great week. I hope everyone's doing well and everyone's healthy at your house. Get outside. It's supposed to be nice maybe a couple days this week. Finally, maybe winter is maybe going to let us go for a little bit. Take care, and hopefully we'll see you soon.